All right, today you should have already got into your textbook and read pages 30 through 33 and basically made a T-chart that explains the threats of an Everglade, hopefully at least 5 threats to an Everglade. And then you also listed the importance of wetlands, at least 5 important reasons why wetlands are to be preserved and taken good care of. If you haven't done this already, please pause this video and do that before moving on. Also, if you haven't had a chance to yesterday get on Flipgrid and share your runoff experiment, or you responded to forms, please do that too.
Good morning, 6th graders. It's just before sunrise and I'm here at Timber Ridge Forest Preserve. Behind me, you can see Lily Cove Lake. This is really close to my house, out for a walk this morning. And I want you to look at this wetland. You can notice a couple things. You can notice the plant life. You can hear the wildlife. And they just recently did a burn. The burn is to renew the prairie plants and the wildlife here. These plants have really strong roots, like you studied when we looked at the Earth's water. Their roots go really down deep. So if you look at the plants, how tall they are, they say their roots are either as deep as tall as they are, or even twice as deep. You can also look down on the ground and notice the burn. We've also discovered some coyote scat. You notice the difference between that and a dog scat. It has a little bit of hair in it, fur in it. But we've seen lots of birds, as you can hear them. A blue heron just flew over. Sorry you missed that. So this is a wetland that we're restudying in school. Mr. Laureate's smarter than me. I walked through it and got really wet, where he figured out another solution. If you look closely, you can see a beaver lodge. There's another one right there.
But today I want you to be thinking about what you already created and took notes on your own. And I want you to just do some independent thought here before I actually started talking to you a little bit about this. Let's look at threats first and talk about the things that you found. Hopefully many of you found all of these different threats. Think about humans. One of the main things we like to have to survive is food. So we went in and we actually destroyed a lot of the Everglades by creating farms and creating places where we can grow food. So that actually, some of those farms have been taken away and restored to preserve the wetlands. And because the parks are providing habitats for many rare and endangered species. So when human activity like farming can cause an imbalance of nutrition. So if we're putting chemicals on our fields and adding pesticides or herbicides or putting fertilizer on the ground, this can actually damage the habitats because it's adding too many chemicals that the animals can't have in their body systems. We also would create a canal or a levee. Both of these types of features are supposed to allow humans to get more water. A canal is going to allow the water to be reverted into a city or a place where we can gather it, or a levee will block the water from going into the wetlands and keeping the water in maybe a pond or a lake that we can use as for fresh water. You also know we build our homes and our roads. That can threaten the Everglades if we get too close and we take over that land. Competition between animals and humans equipment can hurt them. So think about our tractors, our cars, a lot of our equipment that we use for building our houses and our roads, for farming, can also hurt the animals. And then we also, as humans, have introduced a lot of new species. We call these species that come into a habitat that don't belong invasive. And there are a lot of invasive species that are taking out species that really should be there that help the environment. And then there's also the chemicals from the runoff of the farms, or chemicals from factories or other places that we use. So hopefully you get all of those. If not, add them into your list. Remember, development of human growth can be a threat to Everglades. So how do wetlands actually play an important role in our ecosystems? Well, we can actually see that there's a variety of wildlife. The water actually provides a shelter for those animals, allowing them to be able to survive and live. We also see a wetland providing rich supply of nutrients for the plants and for the animals. And then we also see a wetland being a natural filter. That means that it can eliminate chemicals. It can eliminate things that can actually hurt the water and hurt the other wildlife that live there, the animals that live there. Wetlands can also control floods. They absorb the extra runoff from heavy rain. So in your experiment yesterday, hopefully you noticed that the water absorbed into the grass, even maybe nice little pretty quickly, and was able to kind of go down into the ground, where on your sidewalk, it wasn't able to do that. And so it allows it, the wetlands are going to do the same thing. They're going to take the heavy rains and absorb the water. So the last thing that a wetland can provide is food and oxygen to our environment. So what could you do to protect the wetlands in the United States? There's a lot of things you can do, but the one thing you could do is, if you go to a wetland and visit it, take out whatever you bring with you. Don't, litter. Also, don't interfere with any of the plants or animals that are living there. Just enjoy that habitat. You could also contact local politicians and ask them to enact laws that protect the wetland. There are a lot of people who are doing great work in trying to restore the wetlands to what they used to be before we came in as humans and kind of started to threaten them. So when you think about all of these different importance of wetlands, you can actually see that is why we can enjoy the wetlands. So when you look here at this map, you can see here a map of the Everglades. Again, it's quite a lot of Florida that we're preserving. So one of the activities I'm going to have you do next is that you're going to look at a map of DuPage County and all the different wetlands that live there. And if you live near one, if your family is able, you should go and visit a wetland and check out the environment, check out the plants, check out the animals, make observations of what you see, go take a hike, get outside and enjoy a lot of the marshes that are around our area. And then I also want you to be starting to think about everything we've learned about water. We're going to look at groundwater for the next couple of days and start reviewing for a test next week. So one of the things I want you to do today is I want you to make vocab cards of all the different vocabulary we've learned so far. And you can print them off RenWeb, or you can make your own with note cards or paper, whatever you have at home. And then you can start studying that vocabulary for your test next week, okay? And again, feel free to email me if you ever have questions about anything that we've been learning in class. I will put all these slides on RenWeb too, so that you can look at them and review them if you need them. And I put all my slides on from the last a few lessons even before spring break too, if that's helpful to you. All right, so hope you've learned a lot about wetlands and have enjoyed that study. And tomorrow we'll look at groundwater.